The Chicago Bulls continue to keep turning the basketball over at a high rate. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so the Chicago Bulls lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers 125 to 113. And I think that the key takeaway out of this entire game is the 21 turnovers for the Chicago Bulls, which lead to 35 Cleveland Cavalier points. And then at some point, as you're watching this game, you have to ask yourself, did the Chicago Bulls get beat by the Cleveland Cavaliers? Or did the Chicago Bulls get beat by the Chicago Bulls? Because I think that that is more of the case tonight when you see the amount of turnovers and the points generated off of that. And so as we go ahead and jump into, just some of the key takeaways from tonight's game, let me start with, I just think, primetime players for us tonight. And one of those players is going to be Zach LaVine. I think that Zach LaVine was absolutely a star for us tonight. I think that he did a great job, not just offensively, but defensively as well. I could definitely tell that he was locked in. He was focused. Might have been one of his best defensive efforts that I've seen in quite some time. And I'm talking about on-ball defense from Zach LaVine. And offensively, I love the rhythm that he was playing with tonight. I like the fact that he wasn't just out there going for points, but he was literally trying to make the best play possible to keep the Chicago Bulls in this game. His stat line today, 26 points. He had 3 assists. He also had 6 rebounds. He did have just 2 turnovers today, but he was plus 16. He led the starters today. So Zach LaVine playing super efficient. I think that this is something that the Chicago Bulls are definitely going to need because he's played efficient, I believe, in the Atlanta Hawks game, and then he comes out in this game as well. So Zach LaVine showing the way. I think that he was huge for the Chicago Bulls tonight as they get beat by the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they were in the game throughout the game. And so next up, I think the next player that really stood out for me is Vooch. And Vooch, another one of those players tonight that really brought it to the team. Look, tonight for him, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He was plus 14 behind Zach LaVine. And what I love about this with Vooch is that he is just having this ability to just not only shoot the basketball at a high clip right now, but he's also getting in the paint. He's mixing it up. He's taking advantage of these mismatches. And I love what Vooch is doing there. And it is a constant source of offense for the Chicago Bulls, especially if the three-point shot is not going down. So Vooch taking advantage of those mismatches, not known for his defense. I like his rotations. I like the fact that he is being there. And so you saw that again tonight, that he is making the proper rotations on defense. So Vooch has a great game along with Zach LaVine. And so next up, as we continue on, I think another player that it just doesn't even matter about the stats, but I loved everything that he did tonight. And that is going to be Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry with his energy, his chippiness. Like, I love everything that Dalen Terry continues to bring, and I'm going to add Julian Phillips in there as well. Julian Phillips had a nice block on Evan Mobley, and then also, too, just showing the athleticism out there. Both of these players really just bring the grit. I think Dalen Terry tonight, just 4 points and 4 rebounds, but it felt like he had more of an impact than that today, and so I love that, seeing both of these young players come out there, really helping this team get an identity, something that I've talked about before as this team continues to build out, hopefully becomes a contender at some point. You need to get an identity, and I love that Dalen Terry has been that guy that's been out there. He's been scrappy. At times, he was rotating down, getting switched on bigs and things like that. Gave supreme effort today, so I love that about Dalen Terry, and I definitely think that he stood out, even though he doesn't have anything like major standing out in the box score. And so as we move to the box score, I think some of the standouts here, for me, I'm going to start with Josh Giddy. And so Josh Giddy, I think, does a great job just filling up the box score today. 18 points, 9 rebounds. He had 7 assists. He was a plus in the plus minus box score, which is a good thing as well. And I mean, he came out hot. Like, he definitely was part of just getting this team just, on the right track at the beginning, because he did not miss. And tonight, he was 7 of 11 from the field. He also was 2 of 4 from downtown as well. I know he had the 4 turnovers, but a couple of those turnovers, man, I could see where he was going with the basketball. And that is something that Josh Giddy, has always been about, man. He likes to try to go ahead and just make, the incredible passes sometimes, and those lead to turnovers. But tonight, I didn't have an issue with that. I see exactly what he was doing with that. And so Josh Giddy, I got to give him some credit tonight for everything that he did. I know he wasn't in there at the end necessarily to close down defensively, but he did compete his tail off defensively out there. I think that there were some plays where I liked his effort level out there. I liked his contest and things like that. And so Josh Giddy, I think, had a good game today. Coby White as well, even though he did have the turnovers today with the 5 turnovers, I think that Coby White, his ability to make shots, that was critical for us to keep us in the game. And when Cleveland kind of took off a little bit, it was Coby White knocking down some great shots, 20 points. He had 6 assists. He had the 7 rebounds, but the 4 steals, right? A lot of times people talk about Coby White not being a great on-ball defender, which is very true, but he might be one of our best off-ball defenders, or he might be the best, because he's always got his hands in the passing lane. He's figuring out ways to get steals out there. So he is impactful on the defensive end, and he's competing his tail off. And so I know he had the 5 turnovers. I think that that is something where Coby White is just going to have to slow down a little bit and just understand that you do not have to press as much. And so I liked it because, look, he's giving effort out there, and like Stacey King is saying during the broadcast, is that, look, you can live with the mistakes if guys are going out there giving you max effort. And so I know it's inexcusable for the team to turn it over 21 times, but again, I get it from an effort level on some of these turnovers. And so next up with Patrick Williams. Look, Patrick Williams had a great first half yet again, and then Patrick Williams just disappears in the second half here. And so I just think that if Billy Donovan is serious about players earning minutes and things like that, I know at some point you're going to have to use some of these younger players. And so I know Modest Buzelis didn't get a chance to really get out there as much today. But look, Dalen Terry was giving you a lot, I think, defensively, energy-wise. I think at some point you have to think seriously, well, maybe we have to go with Dalen Terry, or maybe it's a mix between him and Julian Phillips, because, look, if you're going to get a complete half from both of those players and you're only getting a half from a player, at some point you've got to ask yourself, do I go to the bench and see what else I have here? And it looks like tonight, one of the keys is that we just kind of shortened the rotation. I know that Jalen Smith wasn't there due to the illness tonight. THT, he wasn't really out there as much tonight. I just talked about Modest Buzelis. Ayo Dosunmu, he led us off the bench, 10 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. He did struggle in the plus-minus area on the box score or whatnot, but still competing at a high level out there. And defensively, I loved what he really brought to the unit. And he was out there closing the game. You see that he had 31 minutes, just like Josh Giddy did too as well. So you're seeing the minutes there. I would have liked to have seen, again, some of these younger players play a little bit more. I think that Sanogo, when he came in the game, he got a nice tip-in basket. And he also did a great job defensively where he comes out on Darius Garland at the end of the quarter in a pick-and-roll situation. So I liked what I saw from him, just the activity level and things like that. I would have liked to have seen him a little bit more tonight, especially with the Cavs playing a little bit bigger with Jared Allen and then also to Evan Mobley. I would have liked to have saw a little bit more of Sanogo, but those are kind of the key takeaways that I'm getting out of the box score. And then when you look at the Cavs, I talked about how deep they are as a team. Look, tonight there were 8 Cavs that had multiple assists. And then on top of that, look at the amount of scoring that they had off the bench. And this is what really allowed the Cavs to not only stay in the game, but also to kind of set it up for Donovan Mitchell and these guys to come back in the game and really finish. So the Cavs are a deep team. You get a chance to see that tonight. And so as we push forward and we look into the team box score, I think some of the key takeaways out of this is that first and foremost, we get out rebounded, or we actually out rebound them, 52-45 here. So that's a good thing that we were able to hit the boards. Next up, you get a chance to see just how active the Cleveland Cavaliers were as far as on the defensive end. Look, 14-6 in the steals. I just talked about how deep they are as a team, but also to the activity on the defensive level. So I know I talked a little bit about the 20 turnovers, but also too, you have to give them credit out there for generating these steals. So 14-6 there, and then points in the paint. Now we get beat there 50-42. Not as bad as it's been in the last couple games, but still we get beat in the paint. I think that is pretty much one of the things that teams are going to always attack us on here until we address that, and that is the points in the paint. So the Cavs take care of business there. And then just talking about those 20 turnovers, man, the 20 turnovers, again, or 21 turnovers, that turns into the 35 points. You just cannot do that. I think that as you become a better team, as you start to lock in a little bit more, you create more of those winning habits, you'll start to eliminate those turnovers, and you absolutely have to do that. So that is something that needs to stop. That's something that the Chicago Bulls can absolutely control. From a field goal percentage standpoint, I think that we did a terrific job there. Look, 48.9% from the field. That is not bad at all. 36.9 from downtown as well. That's still not bad. So I think that we were right there in this game throughout. Just couldn't make some critical plays on the offensive end. And then also too, just again, we have got to cut down the mistakes. And so I think that this was more about the Chicago Bulls beating themselves than the Cleveland Cavaliers beating us, and not taking any credit away from the Cavs because they are a great team, but the Chicago Bulls, they might have could have had this with it. So as we get ready to jump out of this one, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this game. What were the key takeaways from tonight's loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers? Just want to thank everybody out there for liking, sharing, and subscribing to the content. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season ends. And want to let you know about 64.2% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for us. And look, even though the Chicago Bulls, I think, beat themselves tonight, it is an encouraging sign to see that they went out there and they competed hard. This is something that they need to do every game. They need to bring that effort. And I think that as they get more focused, as they get more locked in here and understand the little things here that help a team win, you're going to start to see this team become a better team down the line. It's something that you build upon. It may not necessarily show up this season, but I think as this team continues to build out its roster, as it continues to evaluate players, and they really get in the direction that they want to go, it's these type of games that you're going to need in order to build upon. So look, even though we take a tough loss, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.